Hey guys, welcome back to the Yorkshire Modeller. We are now on issue 38 of the Hachette Partworks Battleship Bismarck. So with issue 38 we get the next Starboard Hull section and then more parts for the Foretop Radar. I've already done the hull, so same as last week, I've just screwed that bit on. So it was this one we got this week. Was it that one? Yes, it was. It was that one we got this week. So yeah, so the whole hull's starting to come on quite a bit now. And so what I'll do, we'll get you pointed down at the desk and we'll have a look and see what smaller parts we get with this issue. So, issue 38, like I say, we've already done the hull. I've got that just off to the side over here. We get the Foretop Command Post Gallery, which is this part here. Then this one is the deck for that part, and then we get a sprue of 5 different, it just calls them small accessories, so plant-on parts basically, same as we've done previously. So, first part of the instructions, move them just around this way just a little bit so I can see what I'm doing. Take the deck 38.4 and fit it onto the Foretop Command Post Gallery. 38.2 is indicated by the blue arrow shown in the picture above. So, if I move that out of the way. So it's these 4 round pegs. There, go into the kind of hexagonal holes. So there's 2 at the top there and 2 just down there as well. So, grab your glue. Just a little bit on each tab. And like we've done before, I just kind of run the glue all the way around the tab, because then it's going to sit just that little bit more snug. Trying to get super glue all over your hands. Drop that into place and push it in as well, because there's a couple of these holes that are kind of, you can just make them out there, those 2 holes at the bottom where the little grey, I'll try to turn this away from the light a little bit, where the grey, dark grey part is in the middle. That's the 2 that are kind of going straight through. So that's that bit all done. Next we need the parts that we assembled last week with the motor attached. So the actual parts for the Foretop control post. Bring in clippers as well. So if I move this out of the way, I'm just going to change the exposure. There we go, that's better. Just don't want to be blinding you with white light. So take the Foretop assembly from issue 37, cut the 2 sockets, one from the frame, which are these 2 parts just here. So if you've got the sprue like that, it's those 2 bits just there. And check the fit on the sides. Let's have a look. Check the fit on the sides of the radar unit. Apply a little super glue to the pegs on the first socket and fix in place. Repeat the step for the second socket. So, let's cut these both off. So that's that bit. I've only just heard that land. So, now these 2 parts actually go on the radar part at the top just here. They go on either side, and I believe they go that way around. They do. So the way these are shaped, there's kind of 2 little supports there. Just, let me put this down. So you've kind of got 2 little supports just there. Those go at the bottom. So when you've got this in, it goes in on the sides where there's the little bar at the top, and they go in like that. So I'll get those glued in. So I hope everybody's enjoying the build so far. Nearly, well, I suppose 2/3 of the way through almost. That's one. I'm thoroughly enjoying it at the moment. A few issues as there are with all Partworks, you know, the lack of parts some weeks and then the abundance of parts in others. But you'll get that through any manufacturer. I'm fully expecting it on the X-Wing when we get that one as well. So yeah, that's those two parts all attached on there. Next we take the two poles that are in the middle of the sprue. They are part 2, the rangefinder arms, sorry. So cut the two rangefinder arms number 2 from the frame. Check the fit of the first arm in the sockets on 1, ensure you have them pointed in the right direction. So let's get these cut off. Now these are the same as the rangefinder arms that we did on what we've already installed on the ship. So we need to make sure these rangefinder arms are same as on the last pair, both pointing the right way, sorry. So, judging by the image in the magazine, where you've got your 2 little holes there, that is where the 2 nubs, so those 2 little bumpy parts there, have got to face forward to face that. So if we glue them on like that, so that's the right way around. Okay. So yeah, as I say, we're going to be doing the X-Wing as well next. I'm a huge Star Wars fan. I did the ModelSpace Millennium Falcon when that came out. I've still got to finish that actually. I've got a little bit of paintwork left to do on it. But the wife's already commandeered that for in the living room. So the X-Wing is going to go in here when that's done. There we go. So those 2 parts all attached on like that. Cut the 3 part 3s, which are it's these J3s again. These little ones at the bottom. I have seen so many things on Facebook and all the Facebook groups about these parts. When we did the top of the last of the radar control centre, they had these parts on, and they're an absolute pain because if you lose them, that's it, they've gone. But these parts go. Looks like it is all 3 of them as well. Where we've got the actual triangular piece at the bottom here, there's 3 holes in each. There's a hole in each corner, so there's one there, and one there. These parts all go in those holes. Which way around do they face as well? Let's make sure I'm getting that the right way around. No, the flat side should face forward, fix in place with a little super glue. I don't have to recess at the end of the deck. The flat part should face forward. Right, so with the shape of these, it's not really very clear, but there's like a little circular disc on the top. That is the bit that needs to face forward. And forward is basically the way that the triangle's pointing. So if you're pointing that way would be forward. So, just because I'm terrified of losing any of these parts, because I have got a light coloured carpet in here and I don't want to lose them, I'm going to be doing this bit by hand. But normally with parts like this I'd recommend using tweezers. But for these little sods, I'd recommend anything but tweezers. There we go. One's in. Especially my tweezers where the tops of them are kind of off to a side like that. So I need to get some new ones. Okay. So, second one. Turn the foretop around so that you can fit the second part in one of the recesses. Again, make sure you have part 3 facing the right way. In this case, it faces outwards. So on the front, so on the point of the triangle, that part faces straight forward. On the 2 sides, they face straight out. Right, I am going to have to use tweezers for this. Oh, please don't ping off. That is all I can say to you, is please don't ping off for these tweezers, because if you do, I am going to swear, and then YouTube will shout at me. There we go. Right, that's one in. Lovely. It's because what we should have done with these parts, and I will recommend this for anybody that is looking at doing this model and you've already watched this video, or you're watching this video before you build this week's parts, glue these small parts on before you glue the rangefinder arms on, because I can see this being a absolute bloody pain. There we go. So what I've done is I've really struggled to get these 2 parts in. So if you're watching this before you build your own issues, brilliant. Glue these 3 little parts on before you glue the rangefinder arms on, because it's going to save you a lot of time and a lot of hassle trying to get those in right. But they're on. Then cut the door part 5 and the 3 lockers. Alright, so this is all the last bit's left on the sprue, so that's the sprue empty. Get rid of that bit. 3 lockers. Interesting fact, well, I say interesting. Where I live in Whitby, locker is a very common name up here, and it was a very big shock to me, because when I moved up here and people walk around and there was like 100 people called locker, I was like, oh, okay. But they were all lovely people. So cut the door and 3 lockers from the frame, test fit on the foretop, noting the orientation and fix in place. So the orientation basically is, with the door, there's like a little, well, sill I suppose you can call it, at the top. That does need to go at the top of the part. So what I'm going to do with this bit is I'm going to put the glue on the foretop, and then bob that in place like that. That's that part in, and then I'm going to do the same with the lockers as well. Just smear a bit of glue on there. So what I've done, you can probably make it out there actually, just a little smear of glue between the 2 holes. And then with the lockers, the hinges on the lockers, when you're looking straight at it, need to face to the left. So basically, I'll see if I can get a clearer photo to put on. But basically the lockers are these 3 parts here, and the handles need to face this way. So that's that all done. Last part of the instructions for this week is to thread this cable through the parts that we attached earlier on. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to put the glue on it now, because there's a couple of pegs on here. So on each side you can just make out that little peg there. Little dab of glue on there. A little dab of glue on the other side. And then, same as I always do, just run a bead of glue. If you can hear that wind, I am sorry. North Yorkshire coast and all that. And it's very windy at the moment. It's very cold as well. Nipped into town this morning, and yeah, it was a little breezy, shall we say. So you slot the cable through that hole like that, and then line that up and just drop it in so that it all fits in like that. There we go. So that's all attached, and then if I get rid of that, there's my battery pack. So plug this back in. Wait, no, it's the other way. So now that that's all built up, looking good. I'm going to try and stop this as best I can. There we go. That's the closest I'm going to get. But yeah, so that is all the parts for issue 38 all done. Right guys, so like I say, that's issue 38 all done. With issue 39, we get the next section of the hull with the Dazzle Camouflage, which means that I'm going to have to start looking at... Oh, crikey. I'm going to have to start looking at doing some of the Dazzle Camouflage on here as well. Now, someone did mention, I forget who it was, someone did mention in a really early video about the Dazzle Camouflage. What I've been doing is I've been waiting until I get the part for next week. So what I can do is when I put this, or the deck as it is at the minute, onto the model, I can make a little tiny pencil mark where that Dazzle Camouflage comes to, because it should come up to like there. And then we've got to paint that way. So I wanted to make sure I got that right. I wanted to put that in the right place. So I've not ignored your comment. I'll try and find the comment actually. There's two people I want to mention. I'll see if I can find the comment of or who commented on it asking about the camouflage, and I'll put it in. I'll put it as like a plaque, like a screenshot or something at the end of the video. There is somebody else who commented asking about or mentioning about the screws on the hull. Because the hull parts that we've done, some of these are from like 37, 38 weeks ago now. Some of the screws have started to work loose as they've been settling. So what I've done is I went over all the parts we've got up to now, the whole hull, and I've just tightened up all the screws. So I'll find out who asked about the camouflage and who asked about the who mentioned about the tightening the screws, and I'll put their names up now. So yeah, thanks to both of you. Issue 39 will be up next week as normal. Hopefully soon we should have the X-Wing. I did mention it in the build a minute ago. What I'm hoping to get behind me is, because I've signed up to the DeAgostini X-Wing through DeAgostini, I should be getting all the extras like the mounting plaque and the bookends and things like that. So we're going to have the X-Wing when it's finished up here somewhere. And then I'm going to try and get like a bookshelf case type thing to put on this wall behind me, and then I'm going to have the Bismarck resting on that, so I'm not worried if it's going to collapse a shelf and I've got to get up in the middle of the night and fix a wall. And also it means I can keep the books, the instructions with all the history and everything in them as well, in the folders, and I can just put them, kind of line them up nicely, and then I'll do the same for the X-Wing and whatever models come after that. So yeah, please remember to like, share and subscribe to the Yorkshire Modeller for weekly model building geekiness. Hopefully soon, as I said last week, and I've said again this week, going to 2 videos a week once we get the X-Wing come through as well. But until definitely next week for the Bismarck, happy modelling, guys.